Welcome to the Good Rookies podcast. My name is Faheem.
And my name is Nelly J, y'all, and we are Good Rookies.
That's right.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Good Tuesday. And guess what? It's episode 45.
4-5. Jordan, come back. Retirement number. Let's go.
2001. Yo, we are so excited, y'all, because if you know Good Rookies, we love to bring back returning guests who came on the podcast and drop our spits like Dylan, hot fire. Faheem, please introduce who we got.
All right. Well, you know what time it is. Like you mentioned, he's been here before. He came on before. He left his mark and he's gone. And now he's back like he never left. Let's welcome Jerome St. Bernard.
Round two.
Jerome. What's going on, Jerome? How you doing today?
I'm going to record that and play it back as my alarm. You guys are going to have me every morning now. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my gosh. I feel bad for your family. Like, who is that? You're sharing your name. Like, no, man. Jerome, it's great having you back, man. And we saw you. I mean, the lockdown didn't happen again yet. It was still pre-lockdown for 8 months. But how has your lockdown occurred? Because now Ontario now is kind of opening up a little bit.
So I stopped watching the news. I no longer allow the negativity. So I get my information from people, but I mean, it hasn't affected me much. I feel like anything that I would have been doing, I am doing. There's a lot of work. I'm enjoying the weather. I checked out one of the beaches already. So I got my toes in the sand. I know it's not a real beach. I should correct myself and say lake because
you're from Grenada. Before people come after you.
No, it's not the real thing. So I got myself a little fake beach going on, and that's pretty much what I plan on doing. What about you guys?
Yeah, we've been here recording episodes every week. I'm joking, no. Life's been good, man. Life's been good. You know, like you said, I don't watch the news anymore. Do you watch the news for him? Like, are you a big news watcher?
No, I'm not a big news watcher at all. My wife is. She He relays the information. That's it.
Fair enough. So, you guys are kind of the news. You guys are the media.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, we talk about the good, like more engaging topics, not just fear mongering. Please stay inside. Curfew. Like, we're not doing that stuff. No. But it's kind of funny because today, talking about the news and ignoring the news, some hot and spicy clapbacks happen. And we know Kevin Durant is king of social media or just any kind of clapback. And his victim today is a Hall of Famer, a fellow champion of Bulls, Chicago Bulls. His name is Scottie Pippen. And so he made a comment towards Kevin Durant. And I don't want to misquote the guy. So I'm gonna do my little stuff, you know, Sports Illustrated, big up to y'all. And he said this. He said, when you're leading the troops, you got to know how to lead and win. And KD, as great as his offense was, it turned out to be his worst enemy because he didn't know how to play team basketball when it came down to it. He kept trying to go punch for punch. LeBron would have been better in that kind of situation because he would have used his team to pick them apart. Okay, now let's go back to what Durant said. So you know Durant, he saw this. So Durant, of course, he won't ever do a quote. He went on Twitter. That's right, y'all. Kevin Durant is a social media Twitter. So he said, didn't the great Scottie Pippen refuse to go in the game for the last second shot because he was in his feelings? His coach drew him up to play for a better shooter? Question mark. Then Kevin Durant continued to say, this guy Scott also wanted to enjoy his summer, so he chose to rehab during the season. LOL. Yo, as Scottie Pippen, they follow Phil, not you! Exclamation point. Faheem and Jerome, what's your thoughts on this, I guess, discussion, or what are we going to call it?
Jerome, I'll let you go first.
So I think Pippen is actually fair. Whenever he analyzes, he uses Jordan as an example. Sometimes I've seen him for Jordan, sometimes against. So I do think he makes fair points. In this circumstance, I don't know if it was the correct point, knowing what the Brooklyn Nets were going through. So first of all, no Kyrie Irving, one of the top 3 players. Harden is a shell of himself. So to tell him to be more pass first in that situation, it was known that this was KD's game, win or lose, and he just made that shot. got them into the overtime. I'm sure he thought he could do it again. And I mean, do what he could to get them to win. So I don't know if it was fair. In regards to the KD response, I mean, KD's petty and sensitive. I would have expected this. And I'm sure in the future, if there's a documentary made about KD, we'll have a lot of those same type of stories that we could bring up in the future. So he needs to be careful with those.
For real. I thought what Future did to Scottie Pippen was bad.
Hilarious.
But
I didn't even want to bring that up.
He's got to bring up
That's
the
too far.
juggler.
but yeah, like
Actually, Faheem, I'm explain that. For what we're talking about, explain the future to Scottie.
oh.
Explain it. I mean, you said a
I don't know
statement.
if I don't know
You
if I
can't-
really drug in the trenches with
Okay,
this.
so I guess
So funny
summarize.
because I'm happy you're saying this one.
Summarize because you dropped it. But yeah, people don't. Like,
man.
what are you talking about?
And also, Faheem, I don't know, is it true? Because I know the story, but I never knew if it's been
Right.
checked.
So me neither. That's why I just
Okay, so you have to say the legend has it.
legend has it. Right. That,
Legend, guy. This is not from Good Rookies. Please don't come after us. Okay, go ahead, Faheem. Go.
just Google it. No, actually, we shouldn't be making a joke about this. This is about him and his future and oh man, I can't even really say future and
A lady.
Jerome. Can you say it?
I'll say it. So
Thank you.
the rumor has it that I think Future was a Scottie Pippen fan, and something about growing up, Scottie Pippen didn't sign an autograph.
I think that
for
part
him.
is a joke. I think that part is a joke.
Okay, that's the joke. Okay,
That's
so
the
the
joke.
thing is, now he's grown. He's turned into Future. He's this famous rapper now. Scottie Pippen and his wife or ex-wife, I don't know if they were together or apart at the time, but Future started dating and slept with his wife.
Okay,
And
and
people
we'll
are
leave it
saying that
there.
was his revenge.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
it.
So we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there.
Rumor has it. Rumor report.
has
So
it.
y'all, that's the rumor. If y'all know the facts, let us know because I love tea. You know, sipping with Nelly J. We love the tea.
You took
Okay.
it there, Faheem.
I
You took
know.
it there.
That's exactly. Faheem, it's your fault. You brought it up, so that's on you. Go ahead.
But yeah, Katie completely he ethered him with that comment. I think
Ether.
yeah, Pippen, it's funny. Pippen played with MJ. We know the shade he's been throwing toward MJ. Pippen's got a book coming out actually, which apparently has MJ some slight slander regarding MJ in his new book that he's got coming out also. So Pippen, it's funny. You can't expect or you can't ask for KD to do something that you didn't do yourself as a player. Pippen, when
Very
MJ
true.
left, Pippen was not able to close the deal in the playoffs for them or even get them anywhere worth mentioning. KD's accomplished far more. I think he's out of pocket, but you know, with KD's clapback, I rate it because it's factual. Unlike what I just mentioned.
Because he didn't use a burner account. Because he actually said it.
Listen, man. No, for real though, I agree with you both. I think some people need to mind their business. Okay. But I get it, right? Maybe someone asked Scottie, what's your thoughts on the game? And he responded, right? Because remember, it's context, everything. But for Pippen to say that KD's not a team player, I think KD is a team player. Like, I don't think he hogs the ball. Like, he's not like a Westbrook. Like I know hogs. You know what I'm saying? Like Harden, I've seen Harden hog the ball. Like KD's never been a hogger like that. He's just the best player on your team, on any team. So is it his fault, Pippen, that he's the best? Like, I don't understand your comment. And I've seen LeBron take shots and take balls when he's ready to do so. But yes, LeBron is a pass first player. That's correct. But I don't like comparing LeBron and KD because they're just two different kind of players. Like, I don't get it. So to me, Scottie, like you were trying to sound smart and be analytical. Maybe you want a job at ESPN because Paul Pierce got fired.
He already is actually.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah, he does. He does speak on behalf of one of the networks. So
okay, so maybe that's why he's trying to be up there with the Kendrick Perkins.
Yeah, I don't
I'm just
back
not.
that take.
I'm not. The take was just an off take, and I love Kevin. Like Kevin Durant, typically I'm like, bro, put your phone down. But I was happy he clapped back. I thought it was hilarious. So, all right, man.
One for KD. That's
yes.
So let's get into this. The NBA, they plan on removing non-basketball move fouls.
Yes.
That's big. Let's see right here. So they have a committee that's looking over it. Here's the type of fouls that you're trying to eliminate. There's three of them in particular. One, a shooter launching or leaning into a defender at an abnormal angle. Two, a shooter kicking out his leg in an abnormal angle. Or three, an offensive player abruptly veering off his path into a defender. those are things that if you notice what's happening with the NBA, I can say for each one, I have a player that comes to mind. Shooter leaning into his defender at an abnormal angle. Anyone, any takers with that one?
I'll say Trey, because he's doing that against the Sixers playoffs.
Jerome, any player you think launches in or leans in at
not Harden. He did nothing wrong.
Okay, I was actually thinking Harden, but that's okay.
So Jerome guys,
Harden.
disclaimer, y'all. Jerome's a big Harden fan. Okay, so we cannot take his opinion on anything moving forward. Yeah.
That's why I kept quiet. I wasn't even going to say anything.
If the shoe fits, right? Okay, yeah. So a shooter kicking out his leg at an abnormal angle. Anyone that you can
I've seen it before, but I can't think of a habitual kicker. But I've seen it happen a lot. But a habitual one
that happened recently.
Yeah, I've seen it happen quite a bit, but
the thing is, you can use Trae Young for all of these. To be honest,
right?
Everyone's watching Atlanta right now.
I'm like Trae did that last.
Definitely for the last one, an offensive player abruptly veering into the path of the defender. That is definitely Trae Young.
That's Trae and CP3. We're gonna see that in the finals.
Yeah, CP3
if I get my Suns Atlanta finals, we're gonna see a lot of that.
Right. So Faheem, like, are these rules happening like right now? Or is it gonna be happening next season? Like, what's
so it's new rules for 2021, so next season.
Okay.
And that's what they're looking to eliminate it, which I think is good. I wish they added one more onto there. I know it's not a non-basketball move, but there is a foul that the continuation rule. I think it's getting ridiculous. You know, the continuation used to be, it was like you head into the basket, you get contact, you take your first, second step, you go up, depending on where you are in the motion, they'll give you the and one. Now I'm seeing and ones for the most kind of ridiculous, like the guy would be like, starting his dribble at the 3-point line and they're giving him and ones. I'm like, what's going on with this?
But also I feel like, remember, like refs are biased too, right, Faheem? So it's about who has the ball, because I really think that we all know the superstars, the LeBrons, so they get away with a lot, and the ones that are nobodies, that they won't get that call. So I think it depends on the refs, and if the refs are betting on the game on a burner account, which I think many of them do that. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it. I think they probably, I'm just saying, like, they probably do. They probably do. Shoot. I'm just saying. So, I mean, if they're doing that, listen, we all know there's good refs, there's bad refs. That's in anything. So it is what it is.
Well, the reason why they're doing this is because there's been like a big increase in regards to the fouls, the free throws that's been happening. So they're trying to cut back on that, right? That might hurt your boy there, Harden, by the way, Jerome. Just want to say.
Yeah,
for sure. For sure.
So, like, will he go from scoring 30 points to 28? Or thoughts on this? So
here's the thing. For me, and I'll use James Harden as an example, I think he's in the debate for one of the best offensive players of all time. But I think it's better if you say it, he's the hardest to guard. And that's because he uses the referee. There's no doubt about it. If you're trying to guard him, it's you versus him versus the referee, because he's either going to get to the basket, he's either going to make you look silly, or he's going to draw the foul. The thing about that I feel like is kind of being just looked past with him and with Trae Young is how much skill it takes. That in itself is a skill. These people didn't just wake up and learn how to do it. They've been practicing and training, and how can I get the shot and get the and one? You know what I mean?
Oscar goes to. Sorry.
And, yeah, but the thing about it is like you have to have a skill set to do that. If you've ever noticed, because if it was easy to do, everyone would do it. No one's gonna say I don't want an extra basket. But if you've ever seen anyone try and miss, they look stupid.
That's fair.
Imagine trying to lean in and make an awkward shot, and then you don't hit the person and you miss the shot. Like you're looking dumb, right? So. Right. I think they're skilled enough and quick enough. Like Trae Young is very, very quick in order to even move himself in the path of someone that not anyone can do it. It does take skill. And whatever, these guys will pivot. If they're not allowed to do it anymore, they'll pivot. They'll find another way to score. These guys are still skilled. They're just using it within the rules of the game. And that's not their fault, right? These are the rules you gave them to play with, and they're going to play with it. Harden's been known for doing that, even with his gather, carry, getting that extra step in there. They had to really examine that. They're literally changing the way the game is played, and anyone who's done that before has been a great. The Shaqs, the Stephs, right? So it's just a different way. It's a little bit annoying. I get it for the fans, but it's not as easy as it may seem.
Oh, for sure. That's a good thing to keep in mind, that as you're saying, with the different sway and move that Harden makes, and how it's the game is evolving. Like different things are, the Euro step wasn't around like 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Now it's commonplace. You know what I'm saying? So like what I do like is the NBA is on top of this. So with these these fouls. They're not. They're recognizing that this might be a problem, and they're going to nip it in the butt early, opposed to go on from time. So
question for y'all: do you think the NBA is doing this because they're upset as who's left in the playoffs? Like they want to clearly. I'm just saying because the ratings are going to go down because they don't have certain names in the finals or in the
I don't know.
So
I get it.
I'm just saying, like I'm wondering, is the NBA like, hold up, these teams are now in the playoffs. Like we gotta change the rules up. You know what I mean? I'm just scared to know.
I don't know.
I'm just putting it out. I'm putting it out there, y'all.
The teams that are in there, whether they're doing these fouls or not, I don't think it has any effect on the teams that are there, right?
Okay.
Well, this is the thing that I found interesting because when Brooklyn played Atlanta, Steve Nash went on and said, that's not basketball, but you have James Harden, sometimes even Kyrie just doing the same thing to draw a foul, right? So I thought that was interesting. But
the timing of the rule announcement happened when Brooklyn got eliminated. And I'm just saying, y'all, the timing is kind of suspect, y'all. That's what I'm trying to say.
All right.
In terms of your question about viewership, for fans like myself who really hate the super team era, I'm very excited about this playoff.
Me too.
And yeah, because I've never been a LeBron guy. I was very anti-Lakers this whole time. So I liked the fact that Brooklyn was in it because I'm like, super team takes out super team. So now that one super team's gone, I'm good with the other super team gone. We got all these new young teams, new young markets.
Mm-hmm.
So I like it. I'm happy to see. And I hope it is Suns. I think the most exciting will be Suns Atlanta if we can.
Suns, okay. We'll see how this plays out.
Ooh, hot take.
So with Philly, they had a problem in not getting past Atlanta in the game 7. The following day after a loss, it was Ben Simmons and Doc Rivers. And both of them blame can be passed around. What I didn't like after was when they asked Doc Rivers, he wanted to focus very much on, we had 17 turnovers, which is that's fair, right? But they asked him a question about Ben Simmons, and the answer he gave was not an answer I expect from a coach who's been in the league for 20 years. A seasoned
coach, yeah.
Right.
I was surprised.
Talking about what Ben and working on the off season, all these things. I'm gonna get your take, and then I just have something I want to say about this.
Jerome, you can go first, buddy.
Go.
I'm trying to remember what it because I thought you were gonna go a different direction on what Doc said. Are you saying Doc threw him under the bus?
Yeah, he did. So for him, like, can you quote what Doc said? If we can find the quote of what he said, just to get some context.
Right.
Because I think that's important as well.
Okay, that's fair.
So the way
I heard it. I didn't think you were gonna go there with it because you're right. He did throw him under the bus, and I was surprised, especially as Doc Rivers is the player's coach. But what I would say is that to me, that just shows how fed up everyone is. I personally do not like Ben Simmons. I've never liked Ben Simmons. Like I literally think, who do they compare him to? LeBron. I don't like LeBron, and he's not anywhere near LeBron. So I can respect what LeBron can do. If Simmons is LeBron that can't shoot or hit free throws, like he does nothing for me. I think the reason that 76ers haven't been good for the last 4 years is all Ben Simmons' fault. So I'm not really putting any of the blame on Doc personally. I know you're going to argue me with this.
Right.
But I would say, and I'm going to give you my strong point here because I feel like you're going to come for Doc Rivers in a second. We've seen Doc Rivers win before. We've never seen Ben Simmons win anything in his entire life. And I tell Raptors haters all the time, we can be bad for the next 20 years. We have a championship. There's teams in the league that have never won a single thing that might never, right? So the fact that Doc has been good before and Simmons has never, that's all there is to me. Even Embiid, who's supposed to be his boy, threw him under the bus. They said, what's the turning point in the game? He's like, it's the time where Ben Simmons was trying to dunk and he passed it up because he's scared. Like, I don't get what he does. He can't shoot. He's a slasher. He can't slash because if he gets fouled, he can't make the shots. Like, he's a defensive player. He's too big to guard Trae Young. Sorry, I was really angry about this. I feel like I'm venting now. Go on.
Hey, go ahead, brother.
No, the floor is yours, man.
The floor is yours. Don't worry.
Yeah, so it's like there's a term 3 and D for a reason because those players are so valuable. It's almost like, would PJ Tucker have done better than Ben Simmons? Because he's defensive. They're both defensive, but at least he can shoot the 3. He's not even a 3 and D. He's D and D. and he can't hit free throws. I don't know. I don't think I don't think Doc Rivers did the best job, but I don't think he had much to work with Simmons. You can't not play him, right? So it's hard.
All right. I got to step in here, Nelly J.
Go ahead. All right. Go ahead. I'll go after you.
Okay, cool. So, to what you're saying about Doc, I get it. We've seen Doc win, coach of the year. We've seen him win NBA championship, like as a coach, right? We haven't seen that in the last decade. Like last time Doc Rivers, we've seen him win, Ben Simmons was probably in junior high school. It's a long time. Now, I'm with you what you're saying with Ben Simmons, being a D&D guy, and that's funny. But here's where I think it comes down to coaching. Doc Rivers came to this Philadelphia team knowing the personality he has, right? So if Doc Rivers knows that I have a guy who, as Jerome says, is a D&D guy, you had 82 games during the regular season and 8 games of the postseason to make an adjustments to put him in a situation to succeed. You can't tell me.
Can I ask you what the adjustment is?
Perhaps it could be.
I don't know what to do with him.
Where would you think, if I say he's probably best in the restricted area, would you agree or disagree?
He has to go up very hard, because if I'm the opposing coach, foul him immediately. He's not going to make the free throws.
No, but I mean, as a coach, if you can run plays to have him cutting to the basket, like instead of putting him in a position where he needs to shoot a jump shot, put him in transition, put him in where he's cutting, like put him in just put him in a place where he can actually succeed. Because remember, basketball's more than just scoring, right? Like,
yeah,
he doesn't have to score. He could pass. He could defend. Scoring is the major part of his game that we all notice, but he does other things really well also. You know what I'm saying? So you have to take the good with the bad. I just don't think that for Ben Simmons to take 5 shots a game, which is far below his average, and for Doc Rivers to be like, oh, you know what, on the off season we need to have him get more shots up and stuff. It's just kind of like, you're not doing your job. You know what I'm saying? If you came in, it's not like Ben Simmons was a shooter before and then now he's not shooting. Then I'd say it's not on Doc. But if you knew he was not a shooter coming in and you made no adjustments to put him in situations to succeed, I'm sorry, I don't rate that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna jump in here as well, because I like to say numbers and then land the plane, as they say. So in the last 5 games of this playoffs, right, against Atlanta, right, Ben Simmons, let's say for the last 5 games, okay, so he had 18 points, then he dropped to 11, then 8, then 6, then 5. So his points production did drop throughout the playoffs, okay? Now, Ben Simmons scored 18 points. That's not something he does, right? I think his career average is, what is it? 15? I'm looking right now. 14.3 is his average point, right? So if I'm Doc, right, Jerome, and if I'm a coach, I'm seeing that one of my top stars, production of points is going down, right? By game 4, hold up. He scored 11 points now it's 8, now it's 6. It's game 7 now. So like what Faheem said, if you're a coach, you're going to say, hey, Ben, last game you only scored 6 points. What is it that we're not doing? How can I help you be more productive like you did in game 2 or game 3, whenever you had 18 points, right? The coach's job is to take the good and ignore the bad, but take the good and improve more good, and then improve your better parts of you throughout the season. I can't blame Ben Simmons for this loss. It was not just Ben Simmons that lost the series for the Sixers. I part blame them both, right? I just think that clearly Ben Simmons' confidence dropped throughout the playoffs, and that as a coach, your job is to see that and snip it in the bud before it gets to a point where he's not even trying to shoot anymore. He's just scared. Like, if you watch that game, don't lie, I remember seeing Ben under the rim, under the freaking rim, had a basketball. Give me that ball. I would have scored. My 5'5" self would have scored that layup. No, I would have. But Ben was like, oh, I wanted the basket. I'm not going to dunk. I'm not going to do a layup. I'm going to pass it out. Like, it didn't make any sense. So clearly the mental also layer here as well. Like mentally, I think we had Dr. J on here talk about the confidence. When your confidence is shut, if your coach is talking to you in a way that makes that's not motivational or inspirational, you lose confidence, that becomes cognitive into how you perform in the court. And from what I'm looking at his production, it went down. So I can't just blame Doc or Ben. It's both of their fault. This is a combined toxic relationship, like an ex-girlfriend that won't leave. Like, it's a toxic relationship, and they got to go to therapy. Like, go to therapy and figure it out, because clearly it's a disconnect between Doc and Ben. And I've never heard Doc ever talk about a player like this. Like you lost the game. Yeah, it's Ben. No, Embiid was injured. Doc. Embiid was playing in the game, and he was panting and almost like fainting on the court. Doc. This is not
no one
just
blames Embiid.
No,
blames Embiid.
No. But I'm saying though, but like Doc wasn't sitting out and being properly. Like, there's many blames to go around here for Doc. Like, he was not. His rotations were trash against Atlanta. Like, come on, guys. Like, this is a 7-game series. 7 freaking games, okay? And I don't care. Yes, some players are going to perform every game, but as a coach, your job is to make sure your players play best, and you put in position. And if you know that, like how they play, you say, you know what, Ben, you're not a scorer. So I'm going to make sure that I will put you in a place where you can succeed and build the confidence to excel on this team. And Doc didn't do that. So I can't blame Ben for this. This is Doc as well.
Jerome, I'm going to give you the last word on this, but I want to just kind of piggyback off what Nelly J just said in regards to Ben Simmons late in the game had an opportunity right under the bucket and decided to pass instead of shoot it. If at that point you're Doc Rivers and you see that, and you've seen the trend that's been happening about in-game adjustments, if he's not going to help you, he has to look to his bench. He has to look to somebody to give him what he needs. Doc Rivers did not make any adjustments to somebody who looked like he's a fraction of the player he is. You get the last word, Jerome.
I would say I agree with some of the things you say. I just feel like if we're going to put all the responsibility on Doc Rivers as a coach, and coaches usually take the blunt of the criticism and they're here today, gone tomorrow, what do you have to do yourself as a player? Ben Simmons has not improved in any of these things over 4 years. I was never a big DeRozan guy, but a lot of my friends, and we would debate this, I would say DeRozan knows how the league is going. He needs to develop his 3-ball. Why didn't he just take the summer and just work at his 3-ball? Every summer came back, same thing, 3-ball, 3-ball, 3-ball. From the day one, before you even entered the league, it's like, Simmons, you need to learn how to shoot free throws. You need to learn how to just shoot anything, right? And in terms of adjustments, me personally, I would play Ben Simmons as a power forward like he did in college.
Right.
But I would also say, right? You should run, get putbacks, go for some loops, stuff like that until you can shoot. Or maybe that's just a better position for you. I think they got a little too caught up in the fact that he's 6'10" and he has a handle, so they want to play him point, but so far to me, it's not working. So
but honestly, Jerome, I think you should call Doc Rivers after our podcast and no, we'll talk, because it's common sense. Like, I think we all agree that, again, I'm not blaming Doc for this. I don't believe in that stuff. Like, it's both, but the entire team lost. It wasn't just one person, and I think, but the blame could be passed around to a lot of people. But I will never put this all on Doc's shoulders. So I agree with you there.
I just want to leave with this. If I was the reporter after the game, who, how they ask the questions, I would have asked Doc Rivers this. I would have said, Doc, tough game out there. Your team lost a game 7. You unfortunately have not won a game 7 game. Your record is over.
That's a rough stat.
That's
a rough stat.
Doc, is there anything that you feel that you could do different to get a different result in the future?
Yeah.
That's a hardball question I would ask him.
That's a fair question. And if you watch, they were killing Ben Simmons with the questions they were asking him. So I agree.
Right.
They were rude.
But guys,
they should have said the same for Doc.
Guys, that's the next discussion, because the media, majority of them are not Black. So of course they're killing him. The empathy for Black athletes are not there. And that's the discussion that I'm gonna have later, because I've actually met with Black media personnel who work for teams. I won't call it, but they've told me that for them, a Black reporter wouldn't ask, because it's a whole discussion. But anyway, Faheem, I don't want to get on road, but I'm just saying the media in the NBA, the majority is not Black people asking questions. So let's just talk about that. Different episode, Faheem.
Okay.
Let's table that.
We'll put a pin in that. All right.
Get it.
All right, so let's go to For the Culture.
For the culture, we like to highlight individuals that's for the culture. And today we're going to highlight Mr. Grenada, okay? Mr. Beach
Hey.
Life, Mr. Hashtag We Outside, mortgage agent from the Vine Group. Big it up for Jerome St. Bernard.
Hey.
So Jerome, we're so happy because we love to highlight entrepreneurs, people of color that are just doing amazing things, especially in the Toronto GTA area. And so it's cool because like you were an athlete, you played, soccer in school in the States, but then
Track.
yeah,
Actually.
sorry, I was track, right? My bad, track.
No worries. Soccer
Yeah.
now because you can't.
Yeah,
race
sorry, you're
your
always playing
friends,
soccer. Yeah. So you ran track and stuff like that, but you went from athlete to entrepreneur. So how was that transition for you?
It was good. I mean, there's a lot of overlapping, I guess. There's a lot of things that you can say as an athlete translate into the business world, especially as a self-employed individual. Having that competitive nature, having the accountability, I think is huge. Knowing that you're only going to do as well or go as far as hard as you work, and that's kind of the exact same thing being an athletic. And it was actually cool because they do have some type of training because it was NCAA for student athletes. And they kind of tell you when you go into the job world, these are the strengths, because people are thinking, oh, you're a jock. Like, what do you do in the business world? And you kind of say, this is what I've learned. I've learned how to schedule. I've learned time management. I've learned how to be punctual, or they're going to make me do push-ups for the next hour. There's certain things that are drilled into your mind that really do help when you want to start a business and kind of move forward. Yeah.
That's cool though, because like you mentioned that you were an NCAA athlete, and I'm curious now because I know this came up. I think this week the Supreme Court ruled siding with the athletes. So now athletes are going to be getting paid. Now I know back then you didn't get paid, but how are you feeling as an ex-NCAA athlete? How do you feel now that athletes, women and men, can now get paid for playing sports in the States?
I think it's awesome, and the reason being is because there's so many of us. There's so many NCAA athletes every single year, and there's so few that actually make it pro. And those are the only ones that are remembered, right? So for those that is their glory days, and that's the highlight of their career, yeah, you want to get paid for it, right? This could be, and not to take anything away from it, like there's people that are playing NCAA ball, they play March Madness, and they're heroes for a couple weeks. They're going to be telling their kids stories for the next however years, even that they weren't good enough for the NBA. You should be getting paid for that, right? That's a highlight of your life, really, right? So, and for all the other reasons, this is just kind of my take on it. I think it's wonderful that they're doing this.
Well, that's awesome. No, like I was happy for y'all. So I'm like, okay, NCAA. Like, I mean, I've been preaching this. I know Faheem has. We've all been saying like, pay these people, pay them.
Yeah.
So you're a mortgage agent. So first of all, so for example, story, a lady came to me saying, oh, Janelle, I want to get an office in Toronto. And I'm like, okay, so what should I do? And I'm like, I would just Google, but okay. I'm like, well, first of all, I'm like, go get a mortgage agent, right? And I only know this because of you. When you were on the podcast last year, you talked about mortgage agents and what you do versus realtor. And I'm like, wow, Janelle, I actually am a good listener, but I want to tell people about that because I think people always think when I want to buy a house or want to buy an office space, I need to get a realtor. But no, the first step is someone like you. So please break it down for the folks out there.
Yes, exactly. I would say the first step's me, and it is the common misconception. And a lot of people think real estate realtor. And they kind of got the good word because it just goes hand in hand. But especially in today's market, if you've been paying attention to anything that's happening, it's so crazy out there. It's so hot. There's so much purchases going on constantly, multiple offers, scenarios on different purchases. If you are looking for a house and you contact a realtor, if you haven't been pre-approved, they really don't even want to waste their time. And not to say that in a rude way, it's really a waste of time for both of you because you don't want to get your heart broken. And there's so many times, even if they were to say, okay, come, let's go look at this open house, you're going to go to them first, then you're going to come to me and I'm going to look over your financials to see what you can afford. And it's not going to be what you saw. So I don't want to be breaking hearts all day. Start with either your mortgage agent, your mortgage broker, someone who can look and underwrite your documents, give you a pre-approval so you know this is the range. Take that and then go to your realtor. Last time I think it was Javan who was on here with me. He's a realtor, and I'm sure people have come to him before, and he's like, get pre-approved first because he doesn't want to go show you 10 houses, find out you can't afford them, right? Yeah. So find out what your range is and stay within there. Exactly.
No, that's good.
And the thing about it is it is very difficult to get your foot in the door right now. They've changed the stress test, making it a little bit harder. Your affordability has gone down, so it's very important. Even if you're not ready, if you come to me, we have this conversation, and I say you can qualify for this, but you need this. That's when we start planning. How can we get you from here to there? That's when we start finding what's wrong with your credit. How can we repair your credit? What things can we do to kind of facilitate the move into ownership? Because it's not always just an easy process, but as long as you have a plan, you can get there.
So Jerome, COVID and the pandemic, you were with us before, pre-pandemic, pre-COVID, right? So actually, I just have a question in regards to how has the pandemic, because in a lot of industries, it's forced businesses to, like, not businesses, society, like schools. Like, actually, I just watched a graduation today. Shout out to Aiden Pullman, my godson, who just graduated today. But they had his graduation on a Zoom call, right? So I'm just wondering, how has that affected you as a mortgage broker? Like, what has happened? How, like, with the pandemic, how has the pandemic forced you to maybe be more efficient, or any technology is that's happening that's making your job more efficient now that maybe wouldn't have happened pre-pandemic?
So the thing that's good about me as a mortgage agent is that I do work from home. So everyone now is kind of finding ways to work at home. I was already kind of up and running at home. I have a home office I'm in right now, right? So I was used to it. And a lot of what I do with people is trying to let them know there's more options than just the bank on the corner. So I actually found it was a little bit helpful when the branches were closed, there was lockdowns, because my doors are open. You don't need to see me physically. I can do everything online, phone calls, Zoom, FaceTime, we can do this. So it actually helped me in a sense where people that may have just walked to their bank, I'm saying, hey, I'm going to be the person who's going to look at 50, 60 banks for you, and we can do this virtually. So it really helped me kind of do that now. And I feel like a lot of my clients wouldn't even go back now. Why go sit down with the branch, wait in line, sit down in that little office when you can be in the comfort of your home talking to someone, and you're going to get more options than you would if you were going to this one bank. You're going to get 50 different banks, right? So for that, it was helpful. In terms of the industry as a whole, it was very interesting because the entire economy has changed. People were losing jobs. The affordability of things changed so drastically that one of the main things the government had to enforce for the lenders is to lower interest rates. So we're seeing historically low interest rates all across the board. Since I've been on this podcast, the majority of my business has been refinances. So not as much people buying new properties as people that own properties that are like, this is the rate I got before the pandemic. This is the rate now. Let's switch right away. And that was kind of my strategy. I went through my book and I said, especially any friends or family, I'm like, we can save you $100, $200, $300 a month by making this change right now. Let's take advantage of what the pandemic is bringing us with lower rates and kind of save you money, or which can be used for other things during this time. So that's kind of, I don't want to say it's been helpful, but it's definitely, we've seen the interest rates go down, and you got to take advantage of the pros with the cons.
Of course. And I mean, for folks who don't understand about the banks and the mortgage agent, give me like 3 benefits to go to a mortgage agent rather than a bank to find out if you're qualified and stuff. Like, what's the 3 benefits? Yeah.
So the benefit one is options. There's more than that just goes into a rate, right? So aside from getting the best rate, because you're going to get the best rate with me, kind of the way I operate, I do have the same bank that you would walk into. I have 50 to 60 of them. And what I'm doing when I'm looking for rates is I'm really like, who has the best special right now that applies to you, but also products. So say, for example, Nelly, you have 2 children and you walk into a bank and you tell them your income. Some banks will allow you to use the baby bonus you get and some won't. So they might not. So then you could come into me, and one of the questions I would say, do you have any children? What are their ages? Oh, you get how much per month? We're going to add that onto your income. Now, instead of getting approved for this, we'll get you this much. So just the fact that I have these different options, I'm going to ask you personal questions, and anything that you can use to help, I'm going to know which bank to place you at to get you qualified for the amount that you need. Aside from that, so there's the walking into the bank. I had one, and now it's at the tip of my tongue. The other reason.
No worries. But I mean, that's good though. I mean, the biggest reason I think is the options, man. Having multiple bank options, that's huge. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you go to one bank.
I remembered.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for Sorry, B lending and private lending. So, for example, if you have bruised credit, if there is a credit, but you have the money you've been saving, you have a down payment, but for whatever reason your credit's bruised, you walk into a bank, they're going to send you home. If you walk into me, not only can I offer you these A banks, the Scotias, the TDs, there also is the B lending and then what's called C lending, which is private funding. So that could be, say, for example, your credit score is, I don't know, 550, and we'd like it to be 650. I can tell you how to get from your 550 credit score into the 650, but we don't have to wait to get you in the market. We're going to go to this B lender. It's going to be a little bit of a premium, but at least you can get your foot in the door. Next year, when your credit's repaired, we're going to work on that over the year. We can switch you back over to an A lender for those good interest rates. But now you had a property that's went up in value over a year. Yes. So those type of options you'll never get in a bank. They just don't have them, right? Yeah. Thank you for giving me time to remember that.
No, listen, guys. Like, if we're going to a bank, guy, you're not listening to the thing. Go to Jerome, say, Bernard. Yes, like this is gold. This is a gold thing right here. So, on our way out, I have a question because I saw this article and I was disturbed by it. So, a core development group is announcing or plans to buy $1 billion worth of single-family homes across Canada, and they want to convert them into rental units, something they say will free up apartments for renters who want more space. However, an anti-poverty group, they've said that this is frightening because they feel that this will actually price out and make renting more expensive for the housing market. So what's your thoughts on this, group buying things out? And do you think people should be afraid about this?
I understand both sides of it. So single family homes, like so you have a bungalow, upstairs, downstairs, basements, they're buying a bunch of those and they're cutting it into two, making a legal top and a legal bottom. So it's a duplex. Now you can put two families in there. So it makes sense. This is something that I encourage my investor clients to do. If you find a single, you can actually do that conversion yourself. The thing about it is it's helpful to solve our rental problems. But if you're making a single family home into a duplex, you're increasing its value. That's why I encourage people to do it themselves. You do this, as soon as you convert it into a duplex, it's probably going to gain, well, depending on where it is, but it can gain 10, 20% in value. So that's going to cause the price to go up. So I really do encourage individuals to see or talk to someone like myself who can help you with these investments and doing these things, because it's a very smart plan. But I also understand if one conglomerate's going to buy, and I actually did the calculation. They said they're putting $1 billion. The average house price is, I don't know, 500,000. That's going to be like 200 homes that they're just going to buy and boom, turn them into 400 rental places. 200 homes values are going to go up just like that. And are going to be taken off the market for potential purchasers that now are having trouble finding supply just because there's such a high demand, right? So exactly. I can see both sides of it. It might help our renters, but for those of us that want to be owners or want to be investors, it's not too helpful. So there's pros and cons to that.
Okay, well, guys, the expert has spoken. Okay, and if you're looking to buy a house, if I see you going to a bank, if I see you walk into a bank, I'm gonna pull you out. I'm like, yo, call Jerome. Okay, I'm gonna say, oh no, now, because now we outside. Now we outside, so I'm gonna see y'all. Okay, Faheem, next segment. Thanks, Jerome. Thank you for the culture.
All right, so let's close this out. Nelly J, let's go to That's Absurd.
That's absurd, Faheem, bro. What was absurd this week? What was absurd?
Wow. So it's great that we have Jerome on the podcast today because, Jerome, you're very much into soccer. And it's actually, so Gonzalo Higuain, he had said, this is a quote, "I thought I could play in the MLS with a cigarette in my mouth." End quote.
Was that the end though?
I'll repeat it again. "I thought I could play in the MLS with a cigarette in my mouth."
Okay.
Absurd, my friend. Absurd.
In his mouth. Absurd.
Yeah. So let me ask. I guess he's pretty much saying, well, the reputation of the MLS is it's a beer league. It's not. It's not really. Like
Well, guys. To be fair, they're paying beer league numbers, right? They're being paid that much. And sorry, to add to what the quote was, he said, "I thought I would come here and play with a cigarette in my mouth, and instead it is difficult."
That's what I was trying to add there.
Give context.
For him, exactly what you said is the name of all the articles, but there was a little bit at the end.
There was at the end. Oh, okay. Right.
So he said, "It's a tough league. I learned that is similar to Italian football because in Spain and in England, it is easy to do well in those leagues. While in Italy, if you do not know the league, you suffer." So what he's saying is that the MLS might be better than the English and Spanish league. He's not saying it, but he's saying it. You know what I'm saying? So put some respect on the MLS league, damn it. That's all I gotta say. Go ahead, Faheem.
Oh no, I'm with you guys. It's just the reason why I thought it was kind of interesting to discuss is the MLS in regards to reputation. Um, Usually, it's like older players who are in Europe, and it's the retirement league. They come over here, right?
That's what they call it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now things have changed. Like even Sebastian Giovinco, shout out to him while he was with the Toronto FC.
Of course.
He was, MVP, and he came as a young player. Like he was still had some good years in him, right?
Yeah.
And now with ownership, Beckham with Inter Miami, and it's just like there's new breaths being a little bit more respect is coming onto the MLS. I just want to also say one other thing. So the World Cup is coming 2026. It's United 2026, going to be the United States, Mexico, and Canada. Now, the even reason why we got the MLS to begin with, was it almost 30 years ago, was because they didn't have a domestic league here in North America. And the FIFA said, okay, you can host the World Cup, but if you host the World Cup, you're going to have a domestic league. And that's what caused the MLS to happen. So with it coming again in 2026, I guess I just want to throw out to you guys, do you think that you're going to see another bump? Like, I think we're at the, like we're at the beginning stage of something that could be very, very huge, right? I think 2026 could be like that other, take us to the next level where now we've completely shed it being a retirement league.
I
agree. Go ahead, Jerome.
I think that soccer in North America is constantly growing. I don't know. It's in terms of where it lands on the popularity list of sports in North America, it's never going to be as high as it is in some of these Spanish and European places. One of the reasons, I mean, this is more a financial reason. It's a very cheap sport to play, right? So there's no poor countries that can really afford to play full our North American football with all the gears and stuff. So from that, they're playing soccer, what we call soccer, from such a young age. But then again, I mean, more so than that, there's so much. It's just the love of the game and all around the world is so huge. I don't see it ever getting to that level here, but I do believe that it's increasing and it's getting better and it's better, and I love to see it. And what I would say about the MLS and about this guy saying, like, I mean, I was never really a fan of him when he was in Europe. So for him to say that and come over here on his way down past his prime,
he right.
I mean, I would have expected that. Like, even there's players that are 10 times as good as him, Zlatan, that even came over here who did well, but realized that this is real. And what I say about MLS, it's a very fast, maybe not as skillful as Europe, but guys are very fast. Guys are very strong. It's fast paced. They're going to run at you. They're going to defend. And me personally, if I'm in that league, I'm at the prime of my career, I'm running faster than ever, and I see an ex-pro that I grew up watching, I'm going to take that opportunity to give you a little something. Me personally, I'm that's Beckham. I'm going to show Beckham something. So I could understand guys really going at him. And I saw his first game actually where he was like fighting with all the players, and I think that's why it's a little bit disrespectful for them to come after the career down to this league. But for him, I'm with you in that soccer is improving, and I really hope hosting the World Cup will then bring it there. But I don't think we'll ever catch some of these other places.
Yeah.
No, and I don't think we need to catch them. But think about this. So what we're seeing with FIFA, especially as of late, like South Africa, when they're in South Africa, the domestic league in South Africa, it's very small. So they had to build these stadiums, right? And then after they left South Africa, they like these stadiums, they're decaying.
Oh, actually, I
heard about that.
I think Beyonce and Jay-Z had their concert there at one of the stadiums outside.
Okay.
I
and
think
how often?
did.
But how often do Jay-Z and Beyonce South Africa do a
that
concert?
can cover it, but that can cover your entire mortgage and your land for the whole rest of your life.
Yeah.
Shoot, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying it's gone really. They don't even use them for soccer anymore. Actually,
but you know what? I will say, I think the problem with MLS isn't just like the popularity. I just think the men's team just don't win. They don't do well in the world stage. And I think until like they don't, like when has
You're talking about America and Canada, right?
Yeah, so America and Canada, I feel like
even Mexico, let's be real. Like
like so I think until one of their teams make it into to the tournament and actually qualify and do well, like we've seen Nigeria in the tournament. We've seen Mike Island, Trinidad and Tobago
Trinidad,
as well.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Remember that? And we didn't even care. We're like, yeah, we're down 0-3. Hey, like we didn't care because we qualified for the World Cup. So I think until the men's team, and I think Team Canada, I think right now we're playing in the qualifier. So I believe we're doing quite well from what I read last time. It could change like next week, who knows? But I think until we see success, a product successfully being produced in Canada and the US, they won't care. Where on the women's side, the women, listen, American and Canadian women in soccer are always do well, but the men's side don't do well. So I just think when the men catch up to the women's level, where the top 10 or 20 teams in the world, I think, because I would believe a winning product sells. That's just what it is. So I think the MLS, it can't go worse from where it is, right? It's only going to go up. And I really hope in 2 years, or oh my God, 5 years, dry. I thought it was 2024. In 5 years, my brain. In 5 years, I'm hoping that we'll see it boom up because I think it can. It can. We got Alfonso Davies, our team looking kind of sweet this year. So let's go, guys. We can do this.
Okay.
All right. So, well, let's put this episode in the books.
In the books. That was episode 45.
45. Did it.
Yo, the guy did the Faheem line. I love it. Okay. So, Jerome, as you know, we'd like to give you a chance to do a shout out. The last time we asked you for a shout out, you were struggling.
Oh, my goodness.
You were struggling. So, this time, this time, I don't want to hear no complaints because you should have known from the last time. So, Jerome, the floor is yours. Look at him.
I want to thank. I'm gonna start with God. Yeah, always a good choice.
Always a great start. That's right.
I'll shout out my mandem because I saw what you were gonna talk about and I asked him comments on that last one about the man coming with the cigarettes in his mouth and got some really funny opinions on him and what he did for Argentina.
Yeah,
they think that he's the reason that Messi will never had a good Argentina squad and all that.
So that's a whole discussion.
They're giving me some good points, but I didn't want to.
No, that's a whole discussion. But real talk though, like he's bright to talk about MLS when, bro, like you were doing nothing, like you were doing nothing in Europe. So anyways.
He's been let down in multiple places. Is what
yeah. Well, big up the man, damn. Big up the man, damn. And Jerome, where can the people find you? Please shout out your website. Your IG, awesome. Everything. Yeah.
Yes. So I am www.jeromestbernard.com. You can most easily find me on Instagram at Jerome Does Mortgages. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Cool.
Otherwise, you can hit Nelly J. She'll find you if she sees you in the line at a bank. So careful.
Yeah,
careful,
I'm gonna pull you out the bank. I'm gonna be like, yo, why are you here? Deposit or what? What? Okay. Awesome. Well, Jerome, I want to shout you out. Thank you for coming on the podcast. You dropped a lot of gems. I appreciate it. And for those, again, if you want to look to buy a house, any type of property, you got to go to a mortgage agent first. Okay. Put it in your brain. My next shout out for today is Sha'Carri Richardson. Miss I'm That Girl, Miss Don't Play With Me. She recorded one of the fastest times at the U.S. Olympic trials, and she will be in Tokyo. Sha'Carri Richardson also lost her mother last week. So rest in peace, Miss Richardson. And Sha'Carri tore it up on the track in honor. So I just want to shout her out. She's a strong Black woman doing amazing things, and I cannot wait to see her run against all the amazing Jamaicans in the track because that's going to be lit. Faheem.
Yes, I want to shout out Jerome once again. Always spitting hot fire like Dylan.
Dylan.
I also want to shout out Felix Oj Aliassime. He just most recently took out Roger Federer, a GOAT, and now he's top 20 right now, and Wimbledon's coming around the corner. So I think of all the young guys, the legends have a stranglehold on it. Whether it's Federer or Djokovic, Nadal. But so they're on the way out, and the younger crop's coming through. So when we talk about young guys coming through, Felix Oj Aliassime is a young Black man from Montreal, Quebec, who's holding it down on the global stage. So let's wish him the best going to Wimbledon. And let's throw this out to episode 45.
Bonjour, Felix. Yes,
Bonjour.
episode 45.
That's
Yo,
right.
so if you had a good time, if you enjoyed yourself, just click subscribe, okay? Like the
Mhm.
video and share. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend.
That's
Get it.
Faheem.
That's right. You know where to find us. Tell a friend to tell another friend, and we'll keep this thing growing. That's Good Rookies Podcast, episode 45. And we out.
Peace.
Nice.
Peace.